Okay, yesterday I did a tutorial on editing some clips I took at this weekend's Florida Linux show in Scenerella. I'm going to show you how to do the same thing in Blender today, just in case you're a Blender person. So here we go, let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is my front view here. I'm going to hit Shift-0 and I click on the program. Okay, Shift-0 moves the camera there. 1 to go back to front view, 5 for turn off the depth there. Okay, we're going to go in the top view up here, hit space, and we're going to add a text element. And we're going to go into edit mode here and center that up. Going to hit tab to edit it. Going to type in Florida Linux show. And I'm going to hit tab to get out of edit mode, and we'll hit extrude to give it some depth to make it 3D. We'll hit 3 here to go in the side view on your number pad. R, and then hold down Control to rotate it 90 degrees, and then we will scale it up just a little bit. So there we go, we have our text right there, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit up arrow until I get to frame 91, and I'm going to hit I to add a keyframe of location, rotation, and scale for the text there. Then I'm going to hit Shift down arrow to go back to our first frame. And I'm going to scroll out here and I'm going to hit G for grab, Y for the Y-axis, and zoom it way back. Hit I again to add another keyframe. If we hit Alt-A now, it plays the animation. Did 91 frames because we start at frame 1. That's 30 frames a second. That's a 3-second animation there. Next thing I'm going to add is a plane here. And I'm going to rotate that, hold down Control, lock it in at 90 degrees. Then I'm going to scale it on the X-axis just a little bit, make it a little wider there. Then I'm going to grab it and bring it back so it's behind the text there, and I'm going to scale it up to about that size. Grab it up into the corner here. I'm going to hit Shift-D, make a clone of it, bring it down here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up to frame 91 again, hit up arrow till you see 91 down here. I'm going to hit I to lock a keyframe in, I, keyframe, Shift down arrow to go back to the first frame, G to grab, X for X-axis, move this off to the side, I to add a keyframe, do the same thing for this one, I to add a keyframe. Now if we hit Alt-A, we have our animation of our text coming in and the pictures coming in, but we need to add some images to these planes. So let's do so by clicking on our materials here, add a new material, click on textures, add a new texture. And I know I'm going a little fast here, choose image, then load image. But once again, I have some Blender basic tutorial videos. I'm assuming if you're watching this tutorial you've gone through that and you know the basics. I'm going to click Intro to there for that one. You see a preview of it down here. I'm going to click that one, add a new material, add a texture, make it an image, load the image, come up here, go to where you have your images saved. Now if we hit F12, we get it, but everything's kind of dark. Reasoning for that is where the lighting is. So let's click the light here, we're going to grab that and move it up here so that it sits behind where our camera is. Let's choose the camera. Okay, go put it right there. Now, if we hit F12, the text will be brighter. Pictures are still dark because the pictures are so far back. What we're going to change there is we don't want lighting on the camera anyway because it can cause a glare on the images. What we're going to do is we're going to select the image, go into Material Editor, Shadeless. Same for this one, Shadeless. Hit F12. There we go. Okay, now let's work on our font a little bit more. Select the font. Let's give it a color. We'll add a material. I'll make it kind of a blue. And let's go into our edit window, which is F9, and let's load a font. If you go to Google and you do a Google search for free TTF, that's TrueType fonts, one of the first pages gives you a great view of what the fonts look like and a bunch of them to download. I'll put the link in the description here for that. And I have the font I've already downloaded right here on my desktop, TTF. We're going to select that. And we're also going to package that in so that the TTF file is saved into our Blender files, so when you move your Blender file from one computer to another, you don't have to worry about transferring the TrueType font. Should do the same for these images if we go back into our text editor. and we click a package there. It makes your Blender file bigger, but cuts down on the number of files you have. You also notice since we changed the font is a little bit fancier than that simple font. Same color, but the background when we render it is blue, and so are the fonts, so it makes it a little bit harder to see the text. So I like a black background in this case anyway. If we go in Material Editors and go over to our World button, click on Colors, we can go up to black here. Now our background is black. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit File, and I'm going to save this as, and I'll call it FL Linux for Florida Linux Show. Save my Blender file. Okay, let's go to our render window, which is F10 here. Make sure we have NTSC selected here, and I'm going to choose FFmpeg here. Go to Video, and I'm going to choose DV. At this point, we can render this out by clicking Render. It will render from frame 1 to 250. Just a word of advice, if you're using Ubuntu Janty or anything that's based on that, in the repositories they have Blender 2.48, and there's something wrong with the repositories. If you try to render something using FFmpeg in Blender, it will crash. I am currently using version 2.49 from the website. You just download a compressed file, unzip it, and just click on the Blender and it will run. So at this point you can click Animate to render it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here and say New Scene. I'm going to create an empty scene, and I'm going to click here and go down to Sequence, and I'm going to make sure that I choose New Scene here.